Two screens, two different views. That's what we're all about. Welcome to Dual Screen Radio, where listening is good.
This is Shane R. Monroe.
And this is Chris Henschel.
And you're listening to another episode of Dual Screen Radio,
where listening is good.
It's good.
Welcome.
To
another episode of Dual Screen Radio.
Yes, it's been over a month since our last episode. We're trying to kick these things out monthly, but, tax time, tax season.
Good excuse, yes.
You like that? That's good. I turned my state taxes in like Sunday night, so.
Wow.
Actually, I did run up to the edge on that one. Anything I owe money on, I always hold off till the end. My federal, I had a bunch of cash coming back, so I e-filed that ages ago.
Oh, of course, yes.
Of course, but if I owe money, it's like, I'm going to run that all the way to the edge.
Right.
Yes.
And, of course, you've had Super Paper Mario taking up a lot.
Oh, my God. Between Godfather and Super Paper Mario on TV, I've been totally hooked.
What is that called? Bitch Slap Edition or something? Oh, a
backhand edition.
Backhand.
That's about right, though. That's pretty accurate. You backhand them bitches with the Wiimote. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
I said cream in my coffee.
Yeah, that's right. I told you to put cream in my coffee. Yeah, but Don wants cream.
I'm not pleased with this. How this happened.
That's pretty cool, dude. It's Grand Theft Auto with skin with Godfather with kick-ass Wiimote controls. So.
Nice.
Hey, what we didn't mention earlier in the pre-show discussion is we should probably talk about the Resident Evil Wii edition. I mean, I know this is technically a DS show, but we might have to scamper just a little bit on that coming up. Just a taste of it. We'll talk maybe a little bit about that later, depending on how much time we've got.
So all you hate is simmer down.
Simmer down now. We'll save it towards the end so you can skip over it if you want. So what do we have, Chris, for this episode? To give him the rundown.
Well, we've got some interesting little tidbits going on in the world of the Nintendo DS this time around. It's been a little bit busy, but nothing too crazy. We've actually some recent stories have come up this past week that we thought we'd talk about that were kind of tantalizing to us anyway, or at least somewhat to me. Following that, we will be discussing the hot new puzzle game, Puzzle Quest Challenge of the Warlords, which seems to have overtaken the entire gaming community.
Yeah,
regardless of if you are on a DS or a PSP.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully
fantastic.
Soon enough we'll get a PC version. As of right now, we only have the demo to deal with. Following that, we have some interesting homebrew discussion regarding a new free homebrew game called Word Up.
Which is fabulous. You will want to stick around with that.
Between Puzzle Quest and this Word Up game, my life has been sucked away.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we'll have some discussion also regarding the R4, some little updates, and the typical website updates as well, where Shane will mostly be discussing some things he's been doing behind the scenes regarding a website, which I think everybody's going to be loving eventually.
Yeah, eventually. That's the key word there. But we'll talk more about that at the end.
Yes. And then, of course, we'll, as we just heard, probably mention something regarding Resident Evil for the Wii.
Yeah, we might just have to touch on that just a little bit. So I know we have a lot of Wii fans that are listening to the show too, and
some Wii fans, yes, they're only under 2 feet tall.
That's right, they're Wii. Anyway, moving right along into our general discussion here, what do you got up for our first topic, Chris?
Well, this is something new that just came in. It sounds like Phoenix Wright 3 is going to be coming out for the DS this year, most notably in September. The full title is Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations, and it has been officially confirmed as arriving in September. So we have more lawyer fun on the way.
Which is good, because apparently there's not enough Phoenix Wright for everybody. That's what I gather.
It seems like these people who are really into the series, they get one, and within like a week, it's like down and done and over with, and they're just
less,
dying to get the next one in here. And the fact that Capcom is pumping this third one out, I think, pretty quickly overtopped the last edition, Ace Attorney.
Yeah, which came out, January in the U.S.?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. I mean, this is, this is going to be September, so it's about an 8-month difference. So that's pretty decent.
That's incredible. So that means obviously that it's selling like mad, which is good.
Yeah. Well, you figure it's just a matter of translating the thing, really. I mean, what's the change other? Just got to translate it and get it out there. And the fact that most of these Phoenix Wright games are already available on the Game Boy Advance in Japan makes it easier just for them to shovel them over to the DS, something which has obviously been going on for a long time now.
Right.
Shoehorning these games in. But hey, something like Phoenix Wright, it brings some interesting gameplay to the
And how much do you really have to update it for the DS, right? I mean, that's kind of the
right. It's mostly a choose your own adventure reading kind of situation.
Right, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new one's supposed to have some interesting. Didn't we have some notes on that? We had some interesting things they were going to let you do, like other players were going to be able to control. Where are the notes on that? You've got those over there, right?
I actually just have a brief description, actually.
No, so nothing.
All right. But it does look. Yes, it looks like you'll be able to control Mia Fey.
There you go. That's what I was
thinking. Which is one of the key characters in the game. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is.
That's not Tina Fey from Saturday Night Live, mind you. That's. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is the one. I know there's one. I think it might be the upcoming fourth one in Japan. Actually, I think it just came out in Japan. Japan's already got the fourth one coming out, so that one will probably be right behind this one.
Yeah.
In turn of coming to the U.S. But I think the fourth one ditches Phoenix altogether. I think it's a totally different character that you're portraying in that game. So I think this might be the last one you're going to be able to actually be playing as Phoenix Wright. Because in this one, the title is even Phoenix Wright. So I don't. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's how it is. I think it's the fourth one that he stops appearing, but I could be wrong. I'm not the expert in the series, unfortunately.
That's interesting though for Capcom to take what's become quite the icon. I mean, you can buy little plush figures and all sorts of things depicting Phoenix Wright. So,
what though? I think a lot of the other characters in the series seem to be taking over in terms of popularity as well, though.
That's good though.
It's a group effort nowadays. I mean, I think originally it was just Phoenix, but it seems like a lot of the other characters are really catching on in terms of popularity. So,
well, that's good. Let's not overburden the IP too much. Let's let Phoenix have his trilogy, and then we can move on.
Right.
I'm guessing it'll be a chick this time around. That's what I do. If it were me.
No, it's a guy in the fourth one. There's
it
a
is.
Guy. Yeah, he's got this even bigger hairdo and everything.
Nice.
He looks like he could impale you with his hair.
The Don Ho attorney. Don King, that's what I was thinking. Don Ho just died, so that's what I was thinking about him.
That's fresh in your mind, yes.
Yes, Don King.
Something else that came up just past week, which was really cool, Brothers in Arms, which has been mainly a console series up to this point, is making the jump over to the DS. The screenshots, I posted this in the forum, they're pretty amazing looking for the DS. You got to realize that the resolution is popped up pretty high on these screenshots. So once you get it shrunk down to its native resolution, and obviously when it gets moving in motion, and we see some video, it's probably going to look superb.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I mean, just right now it's giving you that little bit of an excitement, in the pants action going on. So I did find out though that it looks like it could be a cell phone port, unfortunately. The whole thing early on with Splinter Cell and what was the car one? I think the car one you liked was Asphalt GT. I think that was originally a Nokia Engage title. So I think this was originally by Gameloft, which I think for a fact does mostly cell phone gaming. But
let's
hey,
hope they.
You know what? Yeah, if they clean it up and it works and plays pretty well, hey, I'm there because these screenshots look fantastic so far. Has almost and the early word is it's going to be almost like a little mini version of Gears of War, so I'm sure you'll be thrilled to hear about that.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're right. The screens do look incredible. From what I understand, though, the top screen supposedly is isn't something that you interact with. It's like a video that shows what happens when you take your turn.
Really?
That's what I thought I read somewhere.
It's turn-based?
I don't know. I was just reading something about that the top screen wasn't like a real-time deal, but I could be totally wrong, dude.
Interesting.
Well, we'll look it up and we'll.
Yeah, but you know what else? The other thing is maybe a lot of people are using maybe something you've read as somebody's experiences with the game. I'm sorry, almost Game Boy. The cell phone version.
Yeah.
Maybe it plays a little differently in that because of that it's on the cell phone, maybe some of the mechanics had to be changed. But I mean, the way you're driving around in a Jeep and everything, and I'm assuming that's why the bottom screen is so empty, because it's going to be where you're going to be moving, your stylus is probably going to be for moving around and everything, like kind of like a camera control kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they kind of left that whole area empty, so I guess not to block you. I don't know. Maybe they'll be adding a map to the bottom. That'd be pretty cool. Kind of like, Super Mario 64 DS or Metroid.
Yeah. Well, they classify Brothers in Arms as a first-person shooter, so I'm guessing that that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also coming out for the Wii. For those of you who are jonesing for some action on the Wii, then you'll be able to use the Wiimote to give actual hand signals and all sorts of cool stuff. So,
well, what's neat is the game itself, for the DS anyway, it kind of had, as somebody else has said, almost like a mini Gears of War thing going on. And the first thing I thought of, because I haven't really played Gears of War, so I can't really comment a lot on it, but other than it looks amazing. But there was a game on the Xbox I played a few years back called Kill Switch, which is by Namco. And it was kind of a similar idea to Gears of War in that you're not just rushing around blowing people away. It's more of a duck and cover and then fire kind of thing,
Right.
You take your shots, duck, reload, turn around, fire. And I had a lot of fun with that game. So if it kind of recreates at least a little bit, just an inkling of that gameplay in Brothers in Arms on DS, I'll be thrilled.
Well, we'll be looking for that summer. This summer it's coming out in the U.S.
Yeah.
For the Europeans, it'll probably be out like in 2010, so enjoy it. No, I'm just giving you guys.
Nintendo of Europe, they have to test the mercury levels in the cartridge to make sure it's safe to be released.
Harsh. Oh, let's see. Yes, also recently announced, Sonic is coming back to the DS yet again with Sonic Rush Adventure. Looks like more of the same. Beautiful 2D rendered goodness. Looks great for those of you who are into that. Looks
Plus
like we have
some 3D battle scenes or something?
Yeah. There's like ship-to-ship battle scenes, all sorts of stuff, and it looks like we get some Wi-Fi play this time around.
Nice.
So you'll be able to actually compete in races and mission-based battles with a buddy. So that's good stuff.
Now, what would be cool is if you can do that, if it's going to be like a racing duel kind of thing, if somebody else can maybe portray a different character, maybe like Tails or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, if you're a fan of the series especially. But
oh, yeah.
I mean, the 3D battle stuff kind of had a little bit of a Lunar Nights kind of thing going on. I don't know. You didn't really play Lunar Nights too much, I know. But
yeah.
There's these space battle scenes that take place in between each of the missions where you're using the stylus to guide your ship around, and you're getting fired upon.
Yeah.
So you hold the stylus over your ship, and you got to move the ship back and forth to avoid the fire. And then, your ship is left defenseless as soon as you lift up the stylus. So, you can't maneuver it. So what you can do is to defend yourself or to fire back, you tap on the enemy or the enemy's bullets to blow them up. While you got to jump back to your ship. I thought that was really cool. That was actually the coolest part of the game, in my opinion. I mean, I found the game otherwise to be kind of boring from what I played of it. But it kind of had reminded me of a little bit of a feel from that in the upcoming this Sonic game. So
interesting.
Are you a fan of the Sonic games?
I was, and then I picked up the DS version, and I realized that I'm not quite as in love with it as I used to be.
Yeah, I agree with you.
There's just so much else to do.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of made it a little more. I think they went a little overboard in terms of they took away a lot of its simplicity over the years. I mean, it used to be you just run and jump and try to get through the level, and there's just too much going on these days in it.
Yeah, they've definitely kind of perked it up a little bit with a little more stuff, and I don't know. Hey, remember we talked about Dead and Furious a while back? Everyone should know by now it's been renamed for its U.S. release as Touch the Dead.
Yes.
Yes, and IDOS is going to be releasing that May 15th here in the United States. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's an on-rails horror shooter type thing, much like House of the Dead or the forthcoming Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles. But this actually, I took a look at the import, the Dead and Furious import, and I don't know how much time Chris got with it. I
played it quite a bit.
I thought it was a pretty decent little shooter, and the price will help out on this one. If it's a little bit lower, the $24.95 scenario, although I doubt it. But this does offer some mature gaming. I know a lot of people are like, we're sick of Mario. We want to see heads being blown off. Well, here you go. This is the mature gaming title you've been looking for.
Yeah, the graphics aren't so high. So as long as you don't mind mature, pixelated blood and gore, you'll be fine.
It doesn't look that bad. I mean, don't scare them off.
No, it's not that bad, but it's serviceable. It's
serviceable. When you look at the Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, and you go, okay, well, this doesn't even come close, but this type of genre is unheard of on the DS. There are no on-rail shooters, and a lot of people, are jonesing for something like that, especially with the touchscreen. And for those of you who are worried that touching the screen instead of shooting at the screen makes the game way too easy, don't worry. They compensated for that. It's not a walk in the park, and you will have to.
No way.
Will have to adjust yourself for using the stylus on the touchscreen. So.
Yeah, because to reload your gun, you gotta drag the clip into your gun and everything.
I thought that was pretty clever, actually.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting way of doing it. I was wondering how they were going to do that from the early screenshots, and that works out pretty well. So, anyway, that's headed your way in May, which is pretty good. I'll probably pick that one up when it comes out. I really enjoy it. And it does have a 2-person cooperative play mode, which is another thing that a lot of people have been talking about on our forums from dualscreenradio.com. Click on the discussion forums link. And a lot of people have been discussing the concept of, what are the cooperative play games? Because a lot of guys want to get their wives involved or their kids involved in playing a game where they actually get to play together but not against each other. So this will be one of those kind of games. Obviously, you're not going to play this with your 5-year-old, but this is one of those games that you can actually hook up with a buddy and go to town. So that's good stuff. Reminiscent of the old House of the Dead and Carnival and, those sort of.
Carnival. I forgot all about that game.
Yeah, you forgot about that, didn't you?
Yeah. I've never really had much experience with it. I've seen the arcade a few times, but,
Yeah. All right, go ahead. I know you've got some more items there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Okay, well, Fire Emblem. There's some news in the world of Fire Emblem. As we know, there is a Wii edition coming out, very soon, it seems. I'm not real sure when. I think maybe this summer. Is that about right? But there's definitely it's almost a direct sequel to the the GameCube edition. That's how close I am to getting close to the systems. I mean, it seems. Oh, I'm not going to say it, but they get this. But the point is, I think this was originally meant to be a GameCube game, and I think they kind of just threw it over. Anyway, some recent information has come out from Intelligent Systems, the creators of Fire Emblem, in that we could be getting a DS version very soon.
Yay!
There were hints at, I don't know what you're yaying about. You don't even like it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm doing that for you.
You're just being the crowd, yes. I've always been a pretty big fan of it on the Game Boy Advance anyway. I mean, I haven't played the GameCube edition of it. That's not to say it's a bad game. I'm sure it's fantastic, but I just don't really have, as we've discussed in our past Final Fantasy III review, I just don't have the time or patience to sit in front of a television and play an RPG. Even something like Fire Emblem, which I've been enjoying the crap out of on the Game Boy Advance. It's gotten so bad that I've restarted the Game Boy Advance versions numerous times due to the fact that I'll be playing it for levels upon hours and hours, and then lose track and come back and forget what I'm supposed to even be doing in that particular level or anything, and just I lose track of the overall story. So the game is that good that I'll restart the whole thing. But I'm really looking forward to the DS edition of it because the Advance Wars DS came out very nicely, and if they can do the same thing on the DS one, or for Fire Emblem, that'd be fantastic. You have your little stats on one screen and the gameplay field on the bottom screen. Plus, the other cool thing is they were hinting at Wi-Fi or online play at the least, and that they wanted to really put it in the Wii edition that's currently coming out soon, but they didn't have enough time to do so, and I don't know how far I believe that. I think personally this was probably a GameCube game that they just kind of shoved on the Wii and
yeah, that's
whatever.
Pretty much been the consensus of the people who've seen it.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get some like map trading, creating your own maps, and we could maybe trade them over the Wi-Fi or, online battle. I think that would be fun, being able to play this game online in a 2-on-2 or 1-on-1 rather scenario or something.
Yeah, you might even be able to get me to play that with you. Never know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you jumped into Puzzle Quest.
I did. Boy, that game has made me its bitch. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. Hey, just real quick, I want to remind folks, coming in June 11th, which is less than a month away. Or no, 2 months away, sorry. Woo, boy, am I in the time zone shift here or what? In June, we are going to get Midway's Touchmaster. And I don't know why I'm so damn excited about this game, but they keep teasing us with new screenshots and new videos. Touchmaster for the DS is basically going to be one of those bar top games. You ever been to a bar or a pub and they got like this box that sits on top of the counter and you put money in it and you can play these little games like Mahjong and Solitaire and Go and Trivia. Well, they're coming out with one of those for the DS. 23 different games, including like Trivia, Solitaire, Bejeweled knockoffs, Mahjong, the whole bit. And you'll be able to, get this, finally, you'll be able to connect to the Midway servers and post your high scores, do tournaments, and get daily rankings. So it's going to be, what does Xbox Live call that crap? They call it the scoreboard. Leaderboard, yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're going to have like a full leaderboard scenario for these games, as well as being able to probably play them over Wi-Fi.
Awesome. And
being able to play them, I'm assuming, local area play. So I don't know, man. I'm really jazzed about having 23 mini games that, I can play online and,
Yeah, they aren't the typical, stuff like you would have in Clubhouse, card games and all. These are going to be more, a little more out there, in terms of types of gameplay.
You notice that Midway has finally drank the Nintendo Kool-Aid. It took them forever. I mean, they've got Mortal Kombat Armageddon coming out for the Wii. They've got, I think, 4 different Wii titles in the pipeline. They've got a bunch of DS stuff in the pipeline. I like it when companies finally come around and start realizing that they're backing, they haven't been backing the right people. That doesn't hurt, that Nintendo just posted its highest profit. What was it? What was that article? They basically posted their highest gain since 1962.
Yeah. Like their stock is going through the roof.
Yeah, it does print money. The DS and the Wii now prints money. And the Wii actually has the, mechanical slot loader to actually help slot load out the money to you. So
nice.
Good way to keep the developers happy. Systems that make money. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead. By all means, continue. I know you've got another item or two there.
Zelda Phantom Hourglass. It looks like it's going to be a little more done than a lot of people seem to have realized because of its delay before. It's going to be hitting Japan this June, and usually that means that the U.S. release isn't too far behind. I've noticed, unlike a lot of companies, when Nintendo puts out a game and, it needs translating, usually the Japanese and the English versions are pretty much working side by side.
Right.
So, or in some cases, the U.S. will get it before Japan. Like, I don't even know. Do they even have Paper Mario out over there for the Wii yet? I mean,
I don't think so. Oh, wait, no, they have it. They do have a Europe version. They have a PAL version. I don't know about Japanese version though.
That's what I mean, though. The Japanese, it's kind of funny because in some cases America will actually get it first, and I don't know if it's a sales thing or not, but I do know for a fact that Zelda overall seems to sell better in America than it does in Japan these days.
Yeah.
Because the Twilight Princess has kind of fizzled out over there. It's been selling, but it's not exactly, blowing the doors open,
right,
so to speak, like Wii Play and Wii Sports have been. I mean, they're already million sellers over there for the Wii, and I don't even think Twilight Princess is even half that yet. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll get the U.S. release of Phantom Hourglass maybe by the end of the year, which I think was expected anyway. But if the Japan version of it hits in June, maybe we'll get it somewhere around October or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe even sooner. We don't know. I mean, because, E3 is going to be coming up very shortly. I mean, like what, within a month or so?
Something like that, yeah. The new and improved E3, though.
Yeah. less boobies, so to speak.
Yeah,
So,
like anybody wants to go now. Come on.
Right, yeah, there'll be half the crowd there now.
I
So,
think I might have to plan to go to that next year, dude. I mean,
I can't believe it's been a year since we had all those great releases for the DS. You know?
I know.
I mean,
You believe it? It's like, bam.
And some of them aren't even out yet. I mean, something like DS Air hasn't even touched down yet.
I know.
No pun intended. But yeah, maybe at E3 we'll find out some more information, and hopefully we'll get a concrete release date. Not to mention, I'm sure some other great titles will be popping out of the woodwork that we've never heard of.
I love that. That's one of the coolest things about being a DS owner. Like, you'll be seeing, you'll be watching all these, like, AAA titles on the front, the Pokemon Diamond Pearl and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, bam, some game pops out like Puzzle Quest. You're going, what the hell is this? And you're going, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And now you got something to tide you over till the next AAA release. It's good stuff. I love that.
Or even like last year. I mean, after Christmas, it was like no one really had any releases. They were showing some of the AAA stuff, but then out of nowhere, they dropped Tetris DS on us.
Yeah, that was just amazing.
And then it was like January or February, and it said, oh, it's coming out in March too, by the way. And we're like, what? That's only a month away, and we've only just now heard about it. So I think that's really cool stuff. It kind of just happened recently with Wendan 2. I mean, that just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's like coming out in May. And that just dropped within the last month. It's like, oh, my God, where did this come from?
Blam!
So yeah, maybe Phantom Hourglass, maybe we'll find out some more stuff and figure out when it's coming. And of course, one last little tidbit, at least that I wanted to talk about, and this will be great for the retro gamers out there, like Shane and I and the rest of the guys, and I'm sure in the forum would love to hear, is Namco is finally releasing a Namco Museum DS. It's going to be $19.99. It's going to be coming out, distributed and whatnot this summer, so keep an eye out for that. The pickings are kind of slim, though. This isn't a Konami collection.
No.
Actually, it's pretty disappointing in that respect. I don't even know where they're getting some of the titles. I mean, I'll give you the quick lineup. It's only going to take a second. Dig Dug 2. Where did that come from?
Where did that come from?
Yeah, I'm not even a fan of that game.
Me neither.
Galaga, Galaxian, Mappy, Pac-Man, Xevious, and probably the creme de creme is Pac-Man Versus, which was a game.
Yeah, before we go any further, let's see a show of hands. How the hell many people have ever played Galaxian for more than like 2 seconds? That has got to be, I'm sorry, that has got to be one of the most boring games on the planet. It's not Galaga, which is like kind of what it's sort of it's a cross between Space Invaders and Galaga, but you're going to have Galaga to play.
It's like a half step from Space Invaders.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not that fun. You can only have like
tension.
one shot on the screen at a time. I don't know. I've yet to meet anybody who actually likes Galaxians, but yet it seems to be like on every damn compilation that Midway puts out. This is a real ripoff to me. Other than,
even for $20. I mean, for $20, you could go out and, I mean, even the console versions are a little better in terms of selection.
What you get. Yeah.
I mean, come on. And I'm so tired of it. They're just milking it because Namco Museum DS2 will probably be out next year.
Yeah.
And it'll have Dig Dug, Miss Pac-Man, Rally X, the same old stuff, Bosconian.
Yeah.
I mean, give us something cool. Give us like Assault. I'd love to see Assault, man, on the DS. I think that'd be great.
Now, what you get on this collection though? The real gems, of course. Galaga is a no-brainer. I mean,
but who doesn't already have that in 50 different forms already?
I agree. But it's portable. Remember, we talk about this every show, that there's a difference between having something at home on your TV and having something you can bring with you. Same thing with like Time Pilot. I'd never play Time Pilot on my Wii, but
now don't mind me. I'm just representing the crowd here.
Yeah, no. You're playing devil's advocate. That's good. Mappy is one of the games I'm really looking forward to having portable.
Right, Mappy's cool. I mean, we don't
Mappy's
see Mappy popping
game.
up too much, so that's good. Even Dig Dug 2, I guess you could say, but
no, you can't say that about Dig Dug 2.
That's not
that
a good game.
Sucked.
It does suck, but at the same time,
top to bottom.
it's nice that people are at least going to be able to play it. But at the same time, they could have thrown Miss Pac-Man in there to kind of level it out the playing field, so to speak, in terms of.
And the same thing goes with Pac-Man. I mean, okay. Pac-Man's in the Smithsonian Institute. Pac-Man rules. Pac-Man enslaved a generation. Got it. We're with it, and we understand that it's going to get hoard on there. But we've got Pac-Man in the Pack and Roll collection. I mean, in the pack and roll game, you can unlock the real Pac-Man. I'm guarantee you it's going to be the exact same game that's in there because they've already got that written. So it's like, okay, so you're giving us Dig Dug 2, which is, what the hell? Anybody who's not heard of it isn't going to want to play it. And those of us who have heard of it don't want to play it.
Don't want to play it.
So it's like, okay, so that was like a weird choice. We already talked about Galaxian. Galaga's a winner. Mappy's a winner. Xevious, I'm kind of on the boat about that one. Xevious is cool because it was like one of the first games that had hidden power-ups that you could shoot parts of the screen and hidden stuff would appear.
Right. The whole bomb thing was kind of cool at the time, but it's just so freaking slow. Your ship moves at like 2 miles per hour and everything's coming flying at you. You know, it's very frustrating. It's just a very plodding game.
It's missing some action. Let's put it that way.
I never liked it even then, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I did play it a little bit.
You have Xevious standing in the arcade next to Phoenix.
Right, you're gonna play Phoenix. It's like,
right.
Come on.
I'm sorry, it's like a no-brainer. And you know, the same way with like even Galaxian. I'm not even a big fan of Space Invaders. So Galaxian to me was almost like Space Invaders light because the only thing it really added was ships that kind of fell down in a formation. You know? And at least Space Invaders had that tension build up where you can't let them reach the bottom. Galaxian, you could be just sitting there dodging things left and right all day.
Right.
And it's so slow paced as it is that, you know, I don't know. That's just,
let's talk about what is going to be worth the $20, and that's Pac-Man Versus, because two people on the planet got to play that game. I'm one of them. And I'll tell you what, that's a Miyamoto masterpiece. Was that it was Miyamoto that did that, right? For the
yeah, he was involved in there a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was his baby.
A conspiracy.
Yeah, basically this Pac-Man Versus is what we always wanted to see back in the old Pac-Man days. When we finally got tired of Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man, we kept saying, you know what would kick ass? If you could control the ghosts. That would be cool. Wouldn't it be cool if you could have a bunch of people controlling the ghosts and then somebody playing Pac-Man? And, I mean, because, you know, the ghosts all run on patterns and it's really easy once you learn the patterns. But what if you had humans controlling the ghosts? How cool would that be? Well, Pac-Man Versus is exactly that. Humans control the ghosts. Humans control the Pac-Man. Makes a whole different game out of it. There's a whole bunch of other little nuances to it, too. The ghosts can only see a certain area around them, while the Pac-Man player can see the whole screen. It's very cool. And the only problem with it is in order to play this game, you had to have a GameCube. You had to buy, what pack was that in? I can't remember.
It was Pac-Man World, I think, for the GameCube.
That's what it was.
A two-parter.
Yeah, it was a bonus pack.
I think it was like Pac-Man World 2 or something like that. It was one of the sequels.
Yeah. It was something that you would have said, oh, well, okay, why would it be packed in with that? And you had to have a Game Boy Advance SP or regular Game Boy Advance.
This is the good part. Listen, this is great. Yeah.
Okay. And you had to have a cable. So you needed a cable, a Game Boy Advance. You had to have 3 controllers, the GameCube, and happen to have this version of Pac-Man you would have never bought in order to play Pac-Man Versus.
So as you said, probably 2 people played this game.
So like 2 people have played this game. I bought the $10 cable just so I could play this damn game. And I'll tell you what, it's way cool. Me and the kids had a great time playing it. But, like, no one's gotten to play the thing. So this is the exciting part for me, is being able to say, okay, now everybody can play it for $20. So I'm excited about that.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to give it a try, because it really does look like a cool game. And
it's a cool thing.
When you get the Wi-Fi going, I mean, that's going to be fantastic. You know, you get 4 people in the same room, which is a pretty common thing these days with the DS, you know.
It is.
And load this up. And I think that's why there's so much the slim pickings on this cartridge, because I think they're saying, well, we're going to have Pac-Man Versus in there. That's going to sell it, and then we can just throw whatever we want on here, and people will be satisfied, and then we can come out with another pack next year.
That's right. Are they having Imus promo that?
No, that wasn't what really my intention, but
it sounded like Imus.
You know,
Peter and I play Pac-Man Versus on our cancer ranch.
Yeah right. Every child of all color get to play it.
That's right.
You know, the thing is, it really sucks that Namco just can't come out with one, you know, cartridge with most of their big hits on it. You know, just, you know, take the old PlayStation museum, Yeah, I think they came out with 5 titles in America anyway, one representing every letter in the word Namco. Plus, they had the 6th edition in Japan only, which signified the T in Namcot, which is their other side name. That's a little confusing in itself, but it would be cool if they could just take all those games and just plug them all in one DS card and just say, here, $30, or even $40.
Dude, I'd pay $40 for.
I pay $40. I mean, that's a lot of great software, and all those titles. And you would have Dragon Spirit, Dragon Saber. You'd have Tower Juraga, Ordyne. All those great, Namco classics. Assault. And they would all be on one little system, one little cartridge. Everything, of course, with Wi-Fi, play. I would even accept it if it wasn't single card play, because just the value involved would be good enough for me. But
yeah, I'd be down for that. So Namco, wake up.
Instead we're going to get hoarded out for, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 titles, and even then, 2 of them are or even 3 of them rather, are pretty kind of blah.
Yeah.
Even Pac-Man. I don't think Pac-Man. Don't get me wrong. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I played it to death when I was younger, but
yeah,
it just doesn't age as well. I mean, if you were presented with Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, which you have been all the time, at all times for the most part, rather in these Namco collections, which one are you going to play if they're both in front of you? You're going to play Miss Pac-Man,
of course.
Right. It's just a better game. I mean, there's more variety.
Yeah, they properly improved the game, and that was the result.
Right. So, what's great is that wasn't even an Namco created game originally.
I know. I don't know how they managed to do that. Hey, good for them.
That's fantastic.
Last
Pac-Man is basically an American game.
Yeah, isn't that great? Well, of course, I'm not going to go there. I have to be able to mark this clean when we upload this podcast, so I don't want to go with, the concept of Miss Pac-Man getting eaten. But anyway, yeah, and last but not least, of course, the countdown is on next week. The Pokemon, the most coveted Pokemon games, Diamond and Pearl, are coming, and I'm just tired of hearing about it. I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to be into them or not, because I have not traditionally been into Pokemon games. But let's just get them out on the market so people stop talking about the damn things.
It's been almost a 2-month lead up now. I mean, it's every week it's been in the sale papers for Target and
I know.
Walmart and Circuit City. They're all in there trying to get people in there to pre-order this thing for the past 2 months. It's been crazy. And
Absolutely
finally,
insane.
In less than a week, we'll be getting it.
Thank God.
As of this recording, yes.
Let it go. So the cool thing, I guess, is that this is going to have Wi-Fi ability where you can actually chat. But what's the actual game in there? Is it a battle thing? I haven't even been following.
I think you're actually going to be able to trade too.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you're going to be able to battle or if it's just going to be a straight out trade.
I bet it's a trading thing.
I'd like to have your Charizard. I'll give you my
Weedle.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I think I'm going to want Pikachu for him too. Well, you know what, man? And then, of course, the bad language ensues, and we're right back on Xbox Live again.
Exactly. Exactamundo. Hey, be ready to pay the extra $5 on this one. I can guarantee you this will be a $35 title. No matter where you go. Not even Target's going to have it cheap. So.
Well, it's Nintendo. It's first party. It's DS.
It's Pokemon.
It's their big IP. I mean, come on. Trozay was $35 for crying out loud. So.
Yeah, good point there.
That was like a drop of pee within the toilet compared to what this is. Yeah, Pokemon
drop of pee in the toilet.
Yeah, Pokemon's going to be the flood. So.
Oh, man. Well, there you have it. Kind of an updated look at the news. You're done, aren't you, over there for news items?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. Wanted to make sure I didn't step on your toes.
Nope.
So for those of you who are dying for the Pokemon RPG, next week you get it and you can go away. I'm pleased. So this episode, we're going to be looking at Puzzle Quest, which has enslaved an entire generation of DS players. Everybody I know has been playing it. I mean, anybody I know personally that has gotten a copy of this thing, it's been unbelievable. So this month we're going to take a look at the latest in Puzzle Mania, Puzzle Quest, which I'll tell you what has turned a generation into slaves. At least my generation over here has turned into slaves. I'll tell you, I get the call pretty much like every hour of every day. I see these skulls in front of me and the mana colors, and my kid is totally hooked on it. And my wife started playing it like yesterday, and she's starting to get into it.
She's feeling it out a little bit.
She's feeling it out. She's not completely sure, because she loves Bejeweled, but
Right.
she's having a little trouble getting a hold of the whole spell casting thing. But my daughter, whoop, she's in, and she's totally hooked. You
mentioned Bejeweled, so we should probably explain a little bit about what this game is comprised of, because it is, as Shane has already broken loose, that the game is kind of centered around Bejeweled. If anybody's played Bejeweled online or even offline through a download, most people I know play it through their web browser. It's one of those web top distractions.
Yes.
Where you match all the colors, 3 or more, and they disappear. You get points. You gotta keep it going. You don't want to have anything, before the timer runs out. You want to have everything cleared off. The more you clear, the more your timer goes up, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's played Bejeweled in some degree between the clones that are out there, such as Zookeeper, even on the DS. That's more or less a clone of Bejeweled. Now comes this game from our friends, is it D3 Publishing?
Yeah, D3 Publishing, which is really weird because, let's be honest, most of the things that they kicked out, I'll be straight up with you. Most of the things that D3 Publishing put out just aren't real super high quality.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even talking THQ quality here for the most part.
Yeah. So that alone made it a huge surprise to me when Chris was like, "Oh, dude, you've got to play this. You got to play this." I laid in bed for 3 hours playing it last night. I'm totally hooked. You got to play this. So that's the first thing where you go, "Oh, D3, huh? No, thank you."
Yeah, but grudgingly you've twisted into it. So.
Oh, most definitely. So the core of the game, as Chris said, is Bejeweled, and it's very similar in terms of 3 of a kinds, 4 of a kinds. You rotate 2 pieces, and you line up 3 or more. They disappear, more fall down. Like Chris said, everyone's played Bejeweled. Now, how do you turn Bejeweled into a role-playing game? That alone, was like, what the hell are you talking about? Bejeweled,
now, a lot of people,
role-playing game?
Right, and a lot of people have been already complaining about how they don't want to get this game because they're not fans of Bejeweled, which is understandable.
Totally.
Even if early on, Bejeweled's been around for years now, over 5 years or so, 6 years. And even if you played it early on, you may have said, wow, this is kind of fun. But in this day and age, it's not. It's just the gameplay is kind of laxing at this point. I mean, you've gotten bored of it. So a lot of people have said, Puzzle Quest is like Bejeweled, and I have no interest in it.
Right.
But that's where I have to say, well, hold on a second, because even though the gameplay itself is very Bejeweled-esque, in terms of changing them to the pieces, making them 3 in a row, making them go, there's a lot more deeper thought going on here. Because you're playing a one-on-one challenge with other opponents in this game, and that's where the RPG aspects come into it. You have to outwit your opponent by playing the proper pieces at the proper time on the playfield. It's not a matter of just randomly picking out, here's 3 in a row and clicking on it like you do in Bejeweled. You actually have to put a little more thought into it than that. Because you get one move, and unless you're getting 4 or 5 in a row, or dare I say 6 in a row, which I don't even know is possible.
I got lots of 5s, never seen a 6.
Yeah. Unless you get a 4 or a 5, you're not getting another turn right away. Your opponent's going to take a turn. Now, on this playfield, you have various different types of pieces. You have air, fire, water. Are those the core mana pieces?
Yeah, red, basically yellow, green, red, and blue.
Yeah.
And those represent different elements of,
And this is where we deal with a little bit of a Diablo-esque kind of gameplay, in that you've got mana and you've got health, your overall hit points. Because as we said, this is an RPG. On the top screen, you have your opponent and yourself's stats, their mana, their health, which is divided up into hit points. And on the bottom part of the touch screen is, of course, your playfield, which is showing you the various types of, mana pieces. Or to attack your opponent, you have skulls. So anytime you get 3, 4, or 5 skulls together, you're going to be dealing depending on your overall stats, since once again this is an RPG, that you can deal damage to your opponent via his hit points.
Think of it this way. Think of it as Battle Bejeweled, a turn-based competitive version of Bejeweled, where you have to align skulls. Skulls are the means of damage. That's how you deal damage. So it is not a passive battle game. It is an aggressive.
Very aggressive. Yes.
You have to be aggressive. You cannot be. It's a very active game, and from just that core that Chris is talking about, the one-on-one, everything in the game that you fight, be it a soldier, a griffin, if you're laying siege to a town, if you're trying to capture a piece, we're going to talk more about that later. Everything you do hinges around the Bejeweled type gameplay, but it's almost always done in a battle scenario. And now I'll let Chris continue with talking about how the mana and stuff works. But it's easy to think, okay, I'll take 3, he takes 3, I take 4, he takes 3.
Right.
How many pieces we have left, that's how we win. No. This is an aggressive game. Please continue.
Well, the overall gameplay involves you bringing down your opponent's hit points. Now, of course, during the process of doing so, the other pieces that you can find on the board are gold and experience points. Because this is an RPG, you're going to be able to collect 3, 4, 5 in a row, whatever it does. And as the pieces fall, of course, you can actually collect more and more combos.
Chains, yeah. Chain reaction type
chains.
Things.
And if you get so many of them, you actually get bonuses for doing so. I think it's like 4 or 5 in a row, chain, dispersions of 3 or 4.
Heroic effort.
You have performed a heroic effort. So you'll get extra experience points, extra gold just for doing that. And you may actually even get an extra turn, which is very cool in this game because you can really get the upper hand through an extra turn.
Yeah, turns are your method of rewards in this game.
Yeah. And then you can also get the combo pieces, which will give you anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 extra. So if you have 2 air mana or 2 fire mana, like red or blue, water mana pieces, and you throw in one of those 4x combos, even 3 in a row, you're going to get quadruple the amount of mana in your little storage up top. It's a very deep game. The mana involves you casting your spells. And depending on the type of character you can choose, because, you have certain job selections you can choose from at the beginning of this game. What is it? Wizard, druid, warrior, knight?
I think there's a thief in there too, isn't there?
Is there a thief? I'm not sure if he's available right away, maybe. I don't know. I know the thief is an opponent that you can fight against.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the manual while we're talking here, see if I can find out.
Unfortunately, I'm totally unprepared for discussing the classes you can choose from.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the overall scope of the game from player choosing. But depending on what alignment or player you choose, type of job, you're going to have different abilities and different types of spells and different kind of overall characteristics on how you and your opponent will battle. I think Shane over there chose a druid. And
I did.
I am using a warrior at the moment, so I don't really know how the druid plays, but I know for the warrior, it's all about just bashing your opponent in. So whenever I make a move where I match up three or more skulls, which will deal damage, my bottom damage right now, pretty much the default damage that I can do is 11 points of hit point damage. Now, also, you can take the gold that you collect by getting 3 or in a row or more. You can take to a shop, so you can buy extra items. Items that are it's very Diablo-esque in that they all have their own little perks and pluses or minuses, and depending on how you want to play the game, you can choose to equip a weapon that will give you extra bonuses during battle.
Right.
So those are your, what would you call them? Your, what was the...
They're modifiers, basically.
Modifiers. That's the word I'm looking for, because they will switch up on how the game is played. I could get, a sword, for instance, that would do, if I hit for 5 or more plus damage, it will actually add maybe 1 or 2 plus hit points of damage on top of my base hit point damage score.
Yeah, and these modifiers also affect how much damage you do, how much damage you take as well. So if you've got a shield and he attacks you and his base attack is 5 points of damage, you may only take 4 or 3.
Right.
Because you have a particular type of shield enabled. So weapons and armor in this game relate to either, as Chris mentioned, giving you special rewards, such as extra mana gained or stealing mana or whatever, or it offers you protection or causes him damage when he hits you, things like that. So these modifiers, there are tons of them, and later on you can build your own, if you can believe that.
Forge.
So there's tons of different ways to play this. Even when you play this game all the way through, you're going to have 3 more classes to play, because there's a total of 4. There is no thief. That was my bad. You're still going to have 3 other classes to play, and get this. Different classes, or jobs, if you will, have different spells. Now, here's your other element of the game. Okay, so you've got Bejeweled. You've got the core Bejeweled. You've got this mana collection. Well, why are you collecting mana? Well, mana is the component to cast spells. Every spell that you may have requires X amount of each color of mana. Some just require like 6 blue. Boom, you've got the spell. Some require more, like 7 red, 4 blue, 3 yellows. And of course, the more mana it takes, the more intricacies of mana it takes, the more powerful the spell. At any given time, you're allowed to have up to 6 spells on the screen at one time. You can actually go into your spell book and say, okay, you have 12 spells. I'm going to choose this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one to go into battle with. And that gives you the opportunity to, say, well, I'm never going to use this spell. Why isn't it even on my screen? Let's replace that with this other spell.
Something a little more functional, right?
Something a little more functional. Some spells are protection spells. Some of them are attacks. Some of them change mana into other mana. I know that sounds weird. Why would you want to do that? But sometimes you got a big surplus of blue, but you really need yellow. One of them allows you to use a bunch of your blue to give you a little bit of yellow, and sometimes that's what you need to win.
Or even one of the spells that the warrior that I'm using can cast is, and every one of the skulls, I'm trying to remember how much damage it does. It all depends, though, overall.
It does.
But there's extra bonus skulls that you can get that have like a red aura around them that flicker a little bit.
Yeah, I call them flaming skulls, but they're not.
Yeah. Ghost Rider skulls.
Ghost Rider skulls, yes.
So there's a spell that I have as my warrior. I don't know if a lot of these spells are just based on the type of character you're using, or certain characters have the same spells, whatever, but I can't even remember the name of the spell offhand. I don't know why, but
Battlecry.
It is. Is it Battlecry?
It's Battlecry. Yeah.
Right. I was actually going to say that, but I didn't want to mess it up.
No, you're good to go.
But you tap on Battlecry. That is, of course, once you've met the mana preferences. You need certain mana.
Yeah.
The cost, the prerequisites, right? Why am I saying preferences? My God. So
it's going to be one of those shows.
You need 6 maybe of fire, and you need 3 of water, what have you. Once you meet those prerequisites to cast a spell, then you're good to go. And your spell will actually glow to indicate, just to give you a heads up that this spell is available, that you can use it. So that kind of costs your turn, so to speak, depending on the type of spell. Now, with this particular spell, Battlecry, you click on it, and a random skull will appear on the screen. That will be one of those flaming bonus skulls that will do even more damage.
The Nicolas Cage skull.
Now, this sounds great and everything, but the problem is you could set yourself up for a bad move later, because if that skull appears next to 2 other skulls on the playfield, and then it's your opponent's turn, he can use that against you.
Yeah, and that's what ends up pissing you off the most in this game, is when you don't look far enough ahead and you set something up. You say, okay, I'm going to hook myself up with this, but then you leave him an entirely good turn. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that doesn't piss you off more than setting him up to smite you down. Basically.
Yeah, of course, there's no way around that sometimes, because the paces supposedly randomly drop from the top of the screen.
I swear they cheat, but the developers swear they don't.
Right, and that's why I said, supposedly, because a lot of people are quick to say that this game has horrible cheating AI. But at the same time, and as Shane said, one of the developers actually got on one of the forums that I read here and there, and even came out and said it. Look, there's no cheating involved. Trust me, I am the one who developed most of the AI in this game, and I can assure you that there's no cheating. He said that if it was cheating, that would have probably needed to be more work on his part to incorporate.
Yeah, it would have been harder to make him cheat.
Right. So
it's
easier. It's easier just to say let's make it random than to give it a certain that's going to be where it's going to be. To tell the computer to do something is a lot easier or a lot harder and more detailed than saying let's just make it random. So I don't know, and I think a lot of this comes to the point that you'll see the computer get constant 4 in a row, and then they drop down. 4 in a row again. So the computer's on this big time haul. He's just slaughtering you for hit points or mana. And you're thinking to yourself, this isn't fair. I mean, I'm getting nailed here. This is ridiculous. And you'll want to scream and throw the DS out of the window and scream cheat. But I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that the computer's eyes are just better than yours. I think you'll find a lot of occasions where there's going to be 4 in a row on your screen, and you're just not seeing them. But
Absolutely.
Of course, the computer is going to see them because it's a computer. Right. It's just like how, you have to bring out a calculator to add up your taxes. But if you gave it to a computer, like tax cut or something, it would just automatically know what that number is going to be instantly because it can think it faster. So I think a lot of that comes to play. I mean, I know it's crazy, but
it's not a race either. I mean, your instinct is to pound out as fast as you can. But I got my ass handed to me the other day by a friend of mine at work who recently got into the game, and he's like totally hooked on it. We had a multiplayer game. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. But we had a match between the two of us that took almost 30 minutes.
Wow.
To play. That's a long match for those of you who've been playing Puzzle Quest. And it's because he was very meticulous. He set up all of his moves. He looked ahead. And I got my ass handed to me. And that's exactly how you have to kind of take this game as it's not the arcade Bejeweled. It is a strategy battle Bejeweled. And you got to be ready for that.
Right. Because in some cases, there's maybe, say you have 2 choices on the screen. You can either go for that experience, the little purple experience spheres, or you could go for like a red mana. Okay. Now, they may be your only 2 moves available. But on the other hand, above you are skulls just waiting to drop that your opponent could easily take advantage of in the next move.
Right.
So you have to think to yourself, which one should I hit? And if it's an obvious choice to not let your opponent get to those skulls, then you choose the safer route.
Yes.
Because then you don't want the opponent on the next turn to turn around and use those skulls against you.
And
so
he will.
Yeah, exactly. He'll use them instantly. But that is, of course, not until he takes advantage of any of the 4 in a rows that are on the screen.
Yeah,
first.
that's some bitch. I hate when he does that. You're sitting there going, oh, he's not going to take the skulls. I'm safe. And then he's like, 4 in a row, 4 in a row,
yeah, 4 in a row. And then, no, you hit the skulls.
Now I got a skull for you there, buddy. Damn, it's like you guys are harsh.
So in that respect, once again, this is not this flat-out Bejeweled clone.
Now, if you haven't figured this out yet, I'm not sure how much else we can tell you to let you know. Yeah. Don't let your hatred of Bejeweled keep you from enjoying this game. Real quick, before I forget about it, the other thing about the spells is not every spell requires that you lose your turn.
Oh, no, of course not.
Take time to look over your spells very carefully. Note which ones require a turn and which ones don't. You'll often find that there are ways to maximize a combination of using a spell, taking a 4 of a kind, and then hitting another spell. Sort of a chain reaction of spells, if you will. There's tons of strategy. It's a very, very deep game. And while we're on the topic of the whole mana spells thing, your enemy also gets to cast spells too. And it would behoove you, especially if you come across the big boss characters or the larger creatures, make note of what mana he needs to cast his spells.
That's a very good point.
And use the deprivation method. That's how I've managed to get around a lot of these. You may not need red, but he does. And if he gets lots of red, he starts regenerating hit points. Deprive his ass of red mana. Every time you see an opportunity, snag it, destroy it. Because there are spells that can destroy pieces on the board. So be aggressive. And again, I'm trying to give you elements of this game that show how it's not just Bejeweled. And one more thing while we're talking about mana. There's the dreaded mana drain. Man, I'll tell you what, nothing pisses me off more than spending 20 turns building up this huge mana arsenal. I've got tons of blue. I've got tons of yellow. I've got tons of green. I'm ready to go at this guy with forest fire spells after forest fire spells. And if there are no more moves available on the board, all the pieces blow up and a mana drain happens, which means both players lose all of their mana. That's one of those times you get that really sinking feeling in your stomach. You're going, oh, man, I'm screwed. And, of course, they populate the screen with all new random pieces. So as it tends to happen, the mana drain happens when it's the computer's turn to go next. And he gets to take advantage of all those cool new
So as soon as all those new pieces drop, he like you said, advantage for him, his turn, he's going to nail you.
And he's going to nail you good. So now, if that was the end of the game, if that was all of the RPG elements behind it, it would still be pretty cool. But we haven't even touched the surface of the RPG side of it yet.
Right. I mean, the one thing that we really need to bring up is the fact that your character has different little, stats and abilities.
Yes.
You have cunning and, battle damage type of things,
Morale.
Yeah, anything that decides on how much damage or magic or mana. And anytime you get experience points on the board, it gets added to your experience points queue. And of course, like most RPGs, you reach a certain, number and your levels go up. It can random, but as you get up higher and higher in levels, it's going to get a bigger and bigger gap between the amount you need to get to that next level. You can maybe only need, it'll say, you need 7,500 experience points to achieve the next level, and you may be at like 5,500 or something like that. So, and each time you do this, you're awarded about, at least so far, I've only been awarded 4 points per level. So, you have different abilities that will come up based on your stats. You can change and add points to increase your overall power to each of these. It's very much like, the console versions of Baldur's Gate or, of course, Diablo, where you can increase your overall strength.
Yeah, they call them skill points, yeah.
Right, yeah. So you get 4 of these skill points that you can attribute to each of these abilities. And it's up to you, how you want to use them and disperse them. But usually based on the type of character you're using, you sort of have to go along with that. Like I'm using a warrior, so I would probably much want to throw it at the strength ability rather than maybe the magic. And certain abilities cost more than others. Your morale, I think, is something like 2 points, whereas your fire mana ability may be 3 points. So right there, you're throwing 3 points into one. You're only left with one over extra point. But you can add to this anytime you want throughout the game. You could store them up like we used to do in Diablo to maybe give you a little more of a room to kind of advance your character, or you can do it instantly. But after every level, you get them. And then there's the gold. The gold you can collect the gold all through the playing field. So even if you have no real good moves, go for the gold and go for the experience, because the gold you can take later on and buy certain items at the shop. You usually have hands, or not hands. Well, I think it's divided with your armor. But you can choose from armor, from your body, for your head. You can use boots. Then, of course, you can get something like an amulet, or you can get the weapon itself, or a shield.
Right.
And each of these are under different subject headings in your character, and you can only pretty much equip one at a time, so it's very limited in what you can use. On one hand, you may have an amulet that will allow you to do extra damage for every time you may be able to actually deal damage back if you get attacked. I think there's a troll one or something.
Yeah, Troll Ring, I think, does that.
Troll Ring or something, where if you get hit, for so many points, if like 5 or more or 3 or more or whatever, you can deal back 1 or 2 hits to your opponent equally without taking a turn. So you can equip that, or you can equip another weapon, or not a weapon, but a piece of jewelry or something. But you only do one at a time. You can later sell these items, or you can buy new ones. It seems like every time you have an overall map of the game, and each of these map points have different towns and so forth you can visit, so you can go into different stores.
Yeah, just like any other good RPG, different stores carry different items.
But the combination of all these things we talked about really give the game an overall depth. There's a lot of deep gameplay going on here. I find myself more or less just kind of pounding on the bad guy, though, throughout the level. Because you're just getting, especially in the higher levels, Shane and I are in the teens right now, you tend to get attacked a lot more, it seems. You're getting nailed for a lot bigger numbers than you did early on.
Yeah.
I mean, 24, 30, and then you get the combos going, and you could find yourself down 60 hit points within one turn.
It's insane.
Yeah, so
So the overall game itself, as an RPG, has a beginning and an end. And you start off as, the lowly squire, and you work your way up through the ranks. It's mission based. In other words, you go to a town, you click on quests, they give you a couple of things you can do. You can have 4 quests open at any given time. Once you have 4 quests assigned you either have to give one up to take on a new one, or you have to finish it. Some quests are very easy. Take this message from here to here. Other quests require you go kill something with more than one head. And some of the quests require you visit 5 different places, kill 5 different things, train with these knights, et cetera, et cetera. So,
of course, real quick, I got to throw this in.
Yeah.
I think there's even the generic, you must kill all the rats in the cellar quest, isn't there?
There is. Yeah. You must explore the sewers and kill the rats. I mean, it's a cliche, to be sure, but it's like all the cool things you like in an RPG are kind of thrown in here.
Right.
And every time you complete a quest, of course, you're awarded something: gold, experience, weapons, armor. You get some special item. So you perform all of these different quests randomly on the map. New areas will open up as you complete different areas. So there's a huge world to explore. There's gossip, there's rumors. You go to different towns. You can go to the tavern and get different little pieces of salacious info about what's going on. And your quest takes you to, to find out what are all these undead creatures doing in your region. You have to go kill, your kingdom. You have to go kill the undeads, find out who's sending them, et cetera, et cetera. So there's an overall story, A to B. And in between A to B, there's lots of little quests that they're basically all optional. I mean, you don't have
little sub-quests. They're all little sub-quests.
There you go.
And one cool thing real quick I want to bring up before I forget is, in a couple of these quests, you can actually pick up a secondary member of your party.
Yes.
Now, they only really do much at the beginning of the level, so it's really not a huge aspect of the game so far, at least as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
The first character I picked up, and I'm sure the overall gameplay is the same for all the characters, you pick up this character who will do damage. His speciality is killing the undead.
Yes.
So when you have him in your party, which is pretty much you're going to have him in your party, it seems, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
At the outstart of the level, if you're dealing with skeletons, for instance, he'll do an instant 10 or more damage to the skeletons before anybody even takes their turn. He'll kind of pop in. You'll see a little window pop up that says, skeletons, I'm an expert with the undead. I can handle these. Let me, I got your back. And he'll do an initial 10 plus whatever hit points of damage, and then the turn starts. And
then you're on your own.
Right. And depending on the character and your cunning, your cunning skill, that decides who goes first. For the most part, I found that the lower levels, you tend to go first, against skeletons or stupid enemies. But when you get up against higher classed enemies, like other knights or something, you could find that you won't be going first. But in either case, your little opponent, or not your opponent, your sub character that's kind of in your party with you will attack your opponent before the game even starts. I managed to get the girl with me, the girl I was supposed to be delivering to another kingdom, I guess, to keep things at bay in terms of war. And she will come in and influence some of the characters in the game, good characters in the game. That will give you a little bit of an off start from the beginning. I think she pretty much decides that you can go first, because she'll kind of charm your opponent to letting you go first.
Nice. I delivered her ass to the trolls, man.
Really?
Yeah, I sure did. I delivered her lock, stock, and barrel. She begged, and I let her go. You know what?
I ended
You're
up
very
giving
the
it
troll king, man.
What did he give to you? Or we don't want to
I don't remember what he gave. He hooked me up, though. It's like, oh, cool.
Really?
Yeah, but I was wondering what happened if you didn't turn her over. Well, now I know. So next time I play, I'll probably won't turn her over.
Yeah, she like, those knights, where you have to defeat the 5 knights to figure out what you want to join, or like the trials. I'm kind of going through that right now. And, at the beginning of each match, she comes in and says, I will charm this knight, and I think that lets you get your turn first as far as I can tell.
Oh, that's cool. Man.
Yes. So that's kind of neat, because I was going to say, most of the knights and all, I mean, your cunning isn't going to be as high as theirs, because they're a smarter overall character, I guess, in terms of intelligence. Like I said, something like the knight, Or the thief. The thief, he's gonna nail you first because he's just sneakier than you are. So, it's pretty cool though that the game lets you do things like that. It's almost in terms of a choose your own adventure kind of thing at certain points in the game. So the game's got a lot to offer to it, and I think overall, I just don't want people to think it's just a basic dumbed down Bejeweled clone, which is anything but.
Let's round off with a couple of last things here of other things that it adds from an RPG point of view. You can actually capture characters. Once you defeat a certain enemy, like say rats, let's say you defeat 3 rats. The next time you come across a rat, it'll say, do you want to fight or try to capture him? When you try to capture, you're forced to do a Bejeweled puzzle, where basically you're required to get rid of all the jewels on the screen. I think of it a lot like Pack Attack or any of those other games where basically there's
Pack Attack. That's good. That's a good one. Yeah.
There's only one way that you can finish it, and until you do, you don't get to capture the rat. Once you capture the rat, you can ride him. He's your mount. So now it shows your character on the screen riding this rat, and you get his abilities. You get his rabid bite. You get some of his extra goodies. And get this, if that's not enough, you have your own citadel. You have a citadel, your home base. And in your home base, if you're willing to spend the cash, you can build
stables.
You build stables that will allow you to train your mount. You can build a temple, which allows you to explore and upgrade your own stats. You don't have to wait for your experience to go up. You can, what's some of the other stuff? You can forge your own items. Later on in the game, you'll be able to find runes. Again, what is it, like Diablo 2, right? Diablo 2 had that.
Yeah, Diablo 2, where you could add the rune to your weapons and increase their, even more
powers. So you can actually like join a bunch of runes together. And again, you have to play a puzzle version of Bejeweled to make it work, basically. And then you forge the items, and boom, you've got the item, and now you can use it. So and then again, if that's not enough, I mean, I keep saying if that's not enough, you can go forward and capture other cities by laying siege to them. And when you do that, it sort of becomes a Defender of the Crown thing where every month of gameplay, they start shooting you cash. So the more towns you capture for yourself, the more money you start making. So this is not Bejeweled. How many times do we say it, man?
Yeah.
This is a great RPG that happens to use Bejeweled as a battle mode. That's the way to think about it.
It's really, it blows my mind because when I first saw this game coming out, I didn't think much of it.
Me neither.
Yeah, so originally, there's a PC demo of this game out. There isn't actually a full-blown version of the PC game out yet, and I don't know when it's coming or whatnot, but anybody with any kind of remote interest in this game, especially maybe after hearing us do the review, you should really check out the PC demo. And that's initially what got me interested in the game, and it's really a very well done game. Now, the one thing, I think you could play up to like level 8 for a character or something like that on the PC demo. The one thing that we should really mention also is that the game does have a few glitches to it.
Yes.
The PSP version also has a few glitches in itself. And there are some differences between the two games in terms of their glitches and just overall gameplay. I think they say that the PSP version has better AI. But at the same time, of course, the DS has the brilliant touch screen play, which in my book really would sell me over that version anyway of the PSP. If I had to choose the two, I would be buying the DS version either way.
Yeah, the AI is fine on the DS. It kicks my butt regularly, so I don't need better AI, trust me.
Yeah. Some of the glitches I've found, I mean, I actually haven't found many glitches. Have you had?
I found one,
yeah.
But a lot of other people report other ones.
Yeah, like the game actually freezes, or you'll get a black screen, or.
I got a freeze up, but the game saves itself constantly. You don't even have to save the game; it saves it after every battle.
Oh yeah,
it's transparent. So
it's got a transparent, very quiet. You wouldn't even know it's doing it. And
yeah. So even if it does lock up, then you're okay.
I think that's one thing that's better overall on the DS as well. I don't think the PSP version does that. I think it's a manual save, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really? Wow.
You can manually save the game if you want, though. If you're looking to, say you're in the middle of a battle. I mean, obviously you can close the lid, but to that point, I mean, you could just turn it off and it'll remember where you were before that battle.
Yeah.
But if it makes you feel any better, you can also quit the battle, go out to the main menu, hit start, and it'll ask you, would you like to save your game before quitting?
Yeah.
So if that makes you feel better, you can do that as well. A couple of the glitches I found, or one of them anyway, it's really the main one, is the text will kind of overlap itself sometimes. Like the white text will turn black, or some writing will appear over top another set of writing, which instantly kind of goes away. It's mostly at the beginning of the battle, I guess, while it's trying to set up the overall match. But I haven't found anything that breaks the game, that's for sure. This isn't like
Lego Star Wars. I knew where you were going with that one.
Yeah, where the game's unplayable, but
not only is the Puzzle Quest a great single-player game, but it also has multiplayer capabilities. Now, this is kind of interesting how this works out. The multiplayer requires 2 cards, so sorry about that. It's multi-card only. But that's okay. There's kind of a reason for that. When you actually play multiplayer, you are playing your actual character. So you have to choose one of the characters. You have 2 different save slots, and you have to choose one of your characters, and you connect with the other player, and you basically play Battle Bejeweled, same spells, same overall deal as you would against another player inside the game, but you're playing it over the local area network. So it's fun, but it can take a long time. It's not a great throwdown game. When I say throwdown, I mean, to take 10-minute breaks at work and get one of your buddies and go hang out in the broom closet and throw down some DS. It's a little too lengthy. It's like trying to play Worms multiplayer. It's just a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something you want to play if you've only got a few minutes. But again, when you have 2 humans playing a game, which requires great strategy, which it will if you choose to make it that way, it's like playing a game of chess. It's going to take a while. But overall, it's the exact same presentation, except for instead of fighting an orc, a 2-headed wizard, or whatever, you're fighting a real human. And his level and your level will be accurately depicted in the battle. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, what if your spouse just started playing and she's a level 2 and you're like a level 20? How do you, play multiplayer that way? I mean, that'd just be a slaughter. They do have some handicapping, which allows you to give extra hit points over to the other player.
Nice.
So that they can stay in the game a little bit longer. So, nice little multiplayer element, not necessarily the greatest. It's not playable online, which would have been really cool. And it's only 2 people, which, for our throwdown session, there's like 4 of us that want to play. And they're not quick sessions. It's not a Twitch-type multiplayer session. So, if you're looking for a multiplayer game to fill your multiplayer void needs, it may not be necessarily the game for you. But it's fun. So, what do you think, Chris? You got anything else to talk about with Puzzle Quest? I think we've done it pretty much.
I think that wraps it up. I think we pretty much went on and on and on about Puzzle Quest pretty well.
If you hadn't figured it out, we really like this game.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, or we both said, it just kind of snuck up on us, out of nowhere. And
I wasn't looking forward to this game when I heard about it.
Right, and it was one of those things where I tried it out, especially the PC version. As I said, I started on there, and it sucked me in, and I said, my God, I have to check out the DS version. And it did take me a few minutes to get acclimated with the DS version because, the PC version is just, so clean looking.
It
the
is.
graphics, everything, the high resolution and the artwork, and the pieces are so crisp and clear and creamy that
Yeah, I thought the gold was a boot on the DS version when I first saw it.
Yeah.
What's this gold boot doing on here?
Right. So it takes a few minutes of time to kind of get used to it if you've been playing the PC version. But now that I've been playing this so much, it's nothing. I don't even notice.
Oh, no, not at all.
Pretty much all the artwork and all the text, everything is a direct rip right off the PC version and plopped right into the DS. Some of the pieces may take you a little time to try to figure out the color, especially of an older DS. The color, I think, is a little probably faded, a little more. But it made the transition very nicely. The touchpad is brilliant because it's just a matter of tapping on the pieces instead of having to move around, like the PSP thumbstick, for instance.
Could you even imagine playing a game of Puzzle Quest like that?
No. Of course, some people will say, "Oh, how dare you?" But you know what? Whatever. It's very much considerable though using the mouse on the PC version. So it's the closest you'll get into a portable gameplay, game control with the stylus versus the mouse. So
Good stuff.
It's a great game. I highly recommend it. I'm giving it a stylus up.
I have to give it a stylus way up. Possibly one of the best games to come out. Way up. It's probably one of the best DS games to come out this year.
Yeah, easily. And if you look online, a lot of people are just going bonkers for this game. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, the word of mouth is insane. And I mean, it's been getting pretty much great reviews overall. I think the lowest review, shockingly, was from Nintendo Power, who gave it a 4 out of 10. And,
Did it really?
Yeah, I missed that issue,
Damn.
unfortunately. So I couldn't read the review because my subscription had run out, but they gave it a 4 out of 10. So something tells me the reviewer probably just didn't get the game.
Yeah.
I mean, get it. And,
get it.
yeah. So, most of the online reviews and magazines have been giving it very positive reviews, 8s and 9s, or at least a high 7. It's just shocking that it came out from, of all publishers, as D3 publisher.
Yeah.
They've not got the greatest track record. So, and hey, I'm impressed, Although I think a lot of it has to do with the overall company behind it who programmed it. Because when you boot it up, there's like 5 different logos.
I know my wife's like, did enough people work on this game or what? Yeah. But what I understand is, now, did you hear this too? That they're working on a Tetris version of an RPG next.
Oh, really? I just read actually today that it's going to be more sci-fi influenced, though.
Oh, so instead of fantasy, they're going to go sci-fi,
right.
huh?
It's going to be like Warcraft going into StarCraft, kind of
Interesting.
thing.
I'm not as big of a sci-fi fan, but, I'll play this game.
I love the whole, fantasy thing going on. I mean, and what's great is you got a lot of the typical RPG stereotypes going on in this game, too. Like the troll, he can regenerate his, health and stuff,
Right.
Anybody who's into Dungeons and Dragons, even to a small degree, knows that a troll pretty much can regrow his limbs and, regenerate his body. The only way to kill them is with fire. So, you get a little bit of that stuff going on in this game too. It's pretty cool. But, anyway, topping that out, highly recommend it, both me and Shane. So, good luck on locating it or Shane and I, it is.
Yes.
Because it sounds like it's pretty much sold out everywhere. Or if anything, the great stores like GameStop and eBay are only getting, 1 to 2 copies. And so
I had to buy the display copy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so the chances that you getting a new in-the-box unwrapped version of this game at eBay or GameStop are pretty nil. Yeah. So you're better off going to like one of the chain stores who will probably have 50 copies of it.
Yeah.
Like Target or, Circuit City, Best Buy, whatever.
Sometimes those like Walmarts and stuff only carry the kiddie IPs. They don't carry things like this.
Walmart's terrible for gaming, in my opinion. It's terrible. They have the worst selection of games, in my opinion.
They really do. They'll have like 100 copies of Cars.
Or 100 copies of Pony Friends or whatever. Yes. Ponies. No ponies. Yo, coming back from the ghetto.
Yo.
Ponies in the house.
Yo, dog, bring me that ponies over here.
Yo, man, bring me that jackass, too. I add it.
Jackass. Dude, they just make it way too easy, man.
Horses. It's so ridiculous. I don't understand the whole Z thing. There must be like some 50-year-old guy in a meeting room somewhere where they decide names for these games. Hey, don't all the kids these days like Z's on the end of their games? Brats. I mean, come on. Yeah, hey, brats. Yeah, they sold millions of brats. Yeah, that's right, sir. You're right. Let's call it horses. It's brilliant. You're getting an extra stocking stuffer this year. $100,000.
Yeah. Z's, horses,
it's amazing.
Hamsters.
Yeah.
Gangsta games.
I'm gonna get the whole Z collection.
Yeah. Sup, dog. All right, so moving right along, now that we've burned plenty of time on Puzzle Quest, this is a great month for puzzlers because now not only do we have Puzzle Quest, but we also have, drumroll please, Word Up, which is not only a great puzzle game, get this, Word Up to your mother, it is also free. It's a homebrew free game. Can you believe that?
If there's any reason not to get or to get, whatever.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You needed a reason.
If you needed a reason to get a homebrew device, this is definitely got to be one of them. I mean, this game is amazing. I mean, I'm so shocked at how polished it is.
This is like a retail quality game as far as I'm concerned.
I've played worse retail games for $30 or more than I played this freebie. I mean,
I could name like 3 off the top of my head. Elf Bowling, Wiffle Ball,
Zoo
and
Tycoon.
Shamu. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right. Zoo Tycoon takes.
Oh yeah, Shamu.
Wow. Harsh. Whew. Boy, what was SeaWorld thinking when they let that licensed IP go out, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh. But, yeah, so this is fantastic. This is a free game. All it requires is that you have a homebrew device, such as the highly rated, by us R4 device, the R4DS, SuperCard, whatever you need, whatever flash device you got, you can DLDI patch this guy. And if you don't know what that means, listen to our last show. You can patch this guy up to work on your card. And even if you can't get it to patch, you can still play it. You just won't be able to save your high scores. So, Chris, tell them what Word Up is.
Oh, right off the bat, the game kind of reminds me of a cross between the venerable Tetris Attack and Scrabble Blast, which Shane, of course, knows what Scrabble Blast is. It's one of his favorite, if not the favorite, GBA games that he's ever played.
Fantastic
he's not a fan of the
game.
system. You know, you got your letters dropping down from the top of the screen, and it almost reminds me of another PopCap game called Bookworm. If everybody's ever played Bookworm, yeah. The whole subject or object of this game is letters and connecting the letters to form words. So you have a bunch of random letters all dispersed on the screen, plenty of vowels, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, A-E-I-O-U. And you got to match them up by taking the stylus and connecting them. They have to be adjacent, either vertically, diagonally, or horizontally. And you all have to connect in order. So if you want to spell the word what, you know, you start out with W, you drag your stylus to H, and then to A, and then to T, and then you lift the stylus, and the letters pop off the screen, and you get points based on the letters themselves, and then you also can get some multipliers on top of a particular letter. It seems to all be randomized. But I think it kind of takes a Scrabble point, in that it bases the score off of the letters. I'm not 100% sure, but
I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. The longer the word, too, of course, the more letters.
Of course, yes. The longer the word, the better. I mean, I think I spelled the other night. I don't know how I did it, but I spelled the word Avenger. You know, A-E-G-E-R. I know, and that's like my highest score on that game, because the game will save score. I mean, that's what makes it a lot of fun, because you're going ultimately for a high score, and once you've DLDI patched the thing, you're going to be able to enable the high scoring. Something I think I have to do on my wife's SuperCard, because she isn't able to save it. I guess you have to do it for the SuperCard as well. I don't really understand.
I don't remember if there was a specific SuperCard build for that or not. Usually there is, but you should be able to DLDI patch.
Check it out again. But she's upset because she can't save the game, because, like we said, that's ultimately the whole point of the game, spelling the words and getting points. But the pieces will fall at the top of the screen. Your top screen is just a big empty, space, and the pieces just randomly fall, the letters, and they fill in on the bottom screen. You start out with pretty much a full screen on the bottom. You can pick from a normal, easy, or hard difficulty levels. And the faster the more words you make, the faster the pieces are going to fall and drop. And there's even a speed indication at the top of the right screen, or at the top right of the screen, that will be a number, and it scales up and further up as you commence in the gameplay. So the faster the letters drop, the more trouble you're going to be in, because if the columns of letters reach the top of the screen, and this is where the Tetris Attack aspect comes in, you're going to be in some deep boo-boo, because the whole column is going to start shaking, and then a timer will commence, 10 seconds. And if you don't drop that column down at least by one, you're going to be in some even deeper poo-poo in the next turn.
So boo-boo to poo-poo.
Yes.
On the next turn, yes. Kaka.
But that's basically the overall gameplay. And when you score, you get to enter in your letter initials, given 4 slots, and that goes into the top 10 scoring. So it's always fun to see how far you can get, how high you can get of a score. I think my highest speed ended up being somewhere in the high 30s, low 40s, and then that was over for me. I mean, I had the whole screen shaking. And if anything, that's one minor complaint that I'm not a big fan of. Not that I could be complaining, because the game's free and it's fantastic, but when the whole column starts to wiggle and shake, it's a little hard for me to concentrate, on
I
what
agree.
are connecting where. So, I mean, I like it to a point that, because it's nice to be able to have a visual on where your problem is, but at the same time, it might be better just to maybe have the whole column outlined, like in a flash, or glowing. Have the column glowing, a faint little kind of whitish, off-white glow to indicate, rather than shaking the pieces around.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any multiplayer aspects to this game.
Which is too bad, but I bet eventually we'll get there. I bet he'll be doing that.
The music is very MIDI sounding,
sounds very MIDI.
Very Sega Genesis
sounding. Yeah, good analogy there.
Yeah. It doesn't even matter though. The game itself is just a blast. It's amazing that this is a free game, because I can't give it enough positive kudos. It's just amazing. That's
way fun. When you really get burned out on Puzzle Quest and you can't beat the two-headed orc dude, you need a break, flip over and throw down some Word Up. You'll feel a lot better.
Yeah. But
good stuff. I really like the game.
Of course, provide a link to the site and where you can download it.
Yes.
It's a pretty simple site. Just kind of gives you a little layout of the game and the download link.
Yeah, the trick is you got to click the cartridge, the game cartridge on the screen.
Yeah.
I sent it to somebody. He's like, "Dude, how do I get it?" It's like, "Did you click on it?" It's like, "No."
They like to make things challenging, these guys. These,
what is that?
I don't know. Like, you're on your own. You have to figure it out.
You find out how to download it.
Yeah,
it's like, huh?
If you can't figure it out, you're stupid. You're a noob. You shouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, all you want to do is download the stupid thing.
I just want to download it. I don't want to be pwned or whatever they call that.
Yeah. See, I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah. Speaking of homebrew, we have a little update here for you on our most highly recommended R4 DS, the premier slot 1 cartridge solution.
R4.
R4.
Sorry, I can't resist.
I know.
R4.
The latest kernel, the operating system that goes on the card that gives you all of your abilities to play homebrew and DS games, as well as multimedia, including MP3s and OGGs and a special video format called DPG. In addition to that, the 108 kernel that you can go download right now, basically it's nothing complicated. You go download it, you copy it over to your card, you stick it into your DS, and now you've got the 108 firmware upgrade, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And this allows you to do a couple of different things. One, it allows you to do some maintenance on your card. In other words, if you want to delete a file, let's say you're not going to play New Super Mario Brothers anymore, you can delete it right from the menu without having to shut your machine down, take your card out, take the micro SD out, put it in a reader, put it in your PC, bring up your directory Opus, hopefully, find the file, delete the file, take it back out, put it back in the card, put the card back in your DS, and then turn it back on. Yeah, that's a pain in the butt. So instead, you just hit a button on the menu and you can make the file disappear. Good stuff. You can also make a quick backup. Let's say that you're playing, Final Fantasy, right? And you want to kind of leave the last spot that you were at saved. So you can actually create a backup save file on the fly now so that you can play with the backup of your save instead of the actual save. Then, of course, later on, you can merge them together in the whole bit, which is very handy. This is all very handy stuff. But what a lot of people are probably going to be totally stoked over is the fact that with the version 1.08 of the R4 firmware, you can now use Action Replay cheat system, the cheat files on your R4. And this is implemented in, of course, a very stylish way because this is the R4. All you do is download a cheat.dat file and you drop it into your system folder. Next time you fire it up and you're panning through your games, if the game has a cheat available to it, on the bottom screen a new button appears that says cheat. You hit the button and it takes you to a cheat screen. Now, depending on the game, some games, it's just like Action Replay. A lot of people are familiar with that. If let's say you're on, you're on Nintendogs. Well, Nintendogs has a bunch of cheats that allow you to instantly give yourself $1 million or unlock all the different houses or instantly give you a Dalmatian. These are the sort of things that it lets you do. Unlimited lives, unlimited health. We all know what Action Replay is. But you can go in here and actually choose, okay, I want unlimited lives, but I don't want unlimited health. I don't want to stop the clock on Mario Kart, but I do want to unlock all the mirror tracks, whatever. You can do that all within the R4 interface now.
Nice.
So unfortunately, that's also going to make it so that a lot more people can cheat online, which always pisses me off, but
Not nice.
Not nice. So be respectful of your other game players. Don't cheat online, because that sucks.
I think that's a little too late for that, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I do my public service announcement anyway. I'm required by the state. Anyway.
www.dualscreenradio.com.
www.dualscreenradio.com. Yeah, we have to get the site plug in there. Okay, speaking of the site, we are working, as many of you probably already know, those of you who visit our forums and don't just podcatch this thing and ignore the whole rest of the community we've put together for you.
You lazy bastards.
The lazy bastards, get over to the website and register. We offer you a lot of things. There's a lot of things on the website. For those of you who are just getting into the show, we offer friend ID trading. We offer wish lists, want lists. We have the largest database of Nintendo DS games on the internet. We also track Wii games, Wii system codes. It's very easy for you to add and track who you've added to your friend IDs. It goes on and on. There's just tons of stuff that we offer you, including our discussion forums, which have hundreds of people every day, just like you, online pretty much all day long, chatting about not only Nintendo games, but classic gaming, all sorts of stuff. So it's a variety of stuff. And you want to head over to the forums at least and get registered up and check it out, because we offer a lot of information and news that you don't get on the show for like 30 days. You know, tomorrow we could add some cool piece of news and you wouldn't hear about it on the show until next month.
Yeah, and what's cool is the forum, the guys are, this isn't your typical game facts kind of forum either.
Oh, God, there's not a lot of trolls here.
Yeah, these guys are all very intelligent, pretty well-spoken guys for the most part. And I mean,
for the most part. There's always the oddball, but
you always get the oddballs, obviously. But I mean, for the most part, everybody's pretty cool and pretty civilized and laid back. And
it's not a troll flame forum, so you might want to check it out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and what's great is there's a lot of people from all sorts of regions and countries and everywhere in the world. So
yeah,
you get to meet a lot of people, a lot of Brits, a lot of UK guys. I've noticed a few even Japanese members have popped in there recently too. So
yeah,
it's
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they got a wide selection.
Yes.
You don't have to eat beans. You can have fish. Yeah, name the movie, win a prize. Anyway, so that's from Superman 2. You're killing me. When the two cops are driving and they encounter the three villains, and he's like, "Well, I can't go anywhere. They'd expect me to eat beans."
Dude, I don't remember that line. That's not from the Richard Donner cut, is it?
No. It's in the original one. That's funny. I can't believe.
Wow.
Can't believe you don't remember that one.
Sorry,
that's so great. I expected you of all people.
Yes.
Anyway, now the exciting part of the website is that currently, right now, in my spare time, what little of it I have, I am building a version 3 of DSR, the Dual Screen Radio website. And it is, I don't want to break my arm patting myself on the back, but it is way cool. It is a portal scenario. It's an a la carte scenario. A lot of people say, I don't care about news. I don't care about wish lists. All I want to know is what's coming out next week. That's all I care about. That's all I want to know. With the a la carte system that the new dualscreenradio.com will be, you'll be able to select dashboard objects, is what we call them. You can go into a list and say, I want to see the world news, which we aggregate tons of RSS feeds into one dashboard object. Think of them as widgets, or what's the other name for them? Gadgets, widgets.
Gadgets, yes.
It's a lot like if you go, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But they're tuned specifically for our website. And some of them encompass data from other websites. And it's very cool right now. And I'm going to get you a link. We've had a preview thread on our forums that show you screenshots and even video of how the new website's working out and how it's being used. I think you guys are going to really love it. It really gives everybody a chance to kind of personalize their experience. That's what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants to personalize their experience.
To make it simple and to the point, the best way to describe what Shane's doing here is creating a DS version of the Google homepage.
Right.
That's ultimately what it comes down to, where you can customize what windows you want and where you want them and whatever. It's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So our goal is to get as many people to visit dualscreenradio.com every day that we can, because everyone has their subset of sites they visit every single day. And I know DualScreenRadio.com is not one of them. You may visit the forums every day, but you're not visiting the site. And I completely understand why. It's not this, this
hub.
It's not this every minute update of news and information. Although now with the new version, it kind of will be. It will be something where you're going to want to customize. You're going to want to make it your own.
And you know what, though? That was never really our intention anyway. I mean, there's plenty of news sites out there run by guys that get paid, and I mean, it's their career just to sit there and run a site with constant Nintendo or DS news. It'd be silly for us just to sit there and just gargle the same news over and over that these guys are putting out. It's stupid for me to say go Nintendo and say, oh, the new Phoenix Wright is coming out. Oh, let me post that on our DSR site now.
Yeah.
I mean, because chances are by the time I saw it, the rest of the world is already seeing it probably hours before me because the guy's updating it all night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one thing to maybe like just go into forums and like I did it recently with the Brother in Arm pictures. I mean, a lot of people didn't seem to notice them offhand, so I said this looked really good. I thought I'd bring it to everybody's attention. But I think for the most part, I mean, we were never really intending to be an all-source news site. I mean, we just wanted to put out our little corner here. I think ultimately between the database and what we're doing now, what you're listening to was our big goal. But at the same time, there is the need there for people who would love to maybe have a little bit of an all-in-one DS hub. And I think what's going to happen in version 3.0 of the site is going to really satisfy those people.
Yeah, it's really cool. It uses AJAC technology, all the good geek stuff, and it's really fun to use. It's fun to play with, and I think you guys will have a good time with it. So that's on the horizon. Good stuff. Good stuff. That's about all I got when it comes to site news. Everything else is fairly slow. We've been trying to update the database very frequently, so do definitely, if you at least once a week, jump over and look at the what's new link. The latest entries in the database and see some of the things that we're adding, because a lot of times, we scour some of the deep, dark recesses of the internet, and sometimes we'll add a game and it's like, dude, no way, I didn't know that Mortal Kombat was coming for the DS. Well, we do, and we made an entry for it already. Now you can track it and watch it, and you'll have information as we have it. So,
yeah, I mean, today I didn't realize. I mean, is this true? I mean, Guitar Hero coming to the DS?
Yeah, who knows, man? I mean, I could see that.
I know it's coming to the Wii.
Oh, dude, that's going to be awesome.
Mm.
I love it. All right, well,
yeah,
that's all I got, Chris.
Yeah, I think that's all I got right now too. I'm really, man. Well, last week I had that toothache too, so.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I suck, dude. I almost let this go. Chris is going to be a pappy.
Oh, you're going to announce that. I almost
Yes,
forgot.
I am. Chris.
Of all people, I almost forgot to mention that, yes.
Yeah, well, my wife gets all pissy when I don't bring stuff like that up, so.
Baby
it's
stuff.
just like, you're just such a man. You get that too? It's
well,
like
last I checked, that's what I was.
It's like,
no, I don't
it's
think
like,
it as much as I'm sure you do.
So my wife's like, so, how far is Chris's wife along? I don't know. You know what the sex is? We don't know yet. Well, when are they going to find out? I don't know.
We don't know yet.
Are they registered yet? I don't know. Where are they going to register? What do you want from me?
You're a man.
I know she's pregnant. Then she's like, you're such a man. It's like, what? Men don't care about stuff like that. How much was the baby? How much did the baby weigh? I don't know.
12 ounces.
Like, I don't know,
August
8 pounds,
26.
something or another. I don't know.
Boy. Babies are us.
Yeah.
That answers all those questions.
There you go. Holy crazy. It's like, what the hell do you want from me, woman? Yeah.
Woman!
Woman! Start talking to me. No. Anyway, so Chris is going to be a daddy. And when's the due date, roughly, you said? August?
August 26th, somewhere in there, yep.
Outstanding. Maybe he'll share the birthday with me, because mine's on the 25th. That'd be way cool.
Ooh, hey.
Ooh, yeah. So you tell Kathy she needs to squirt that little guy out.
Hopefully I'll still be around to be able to do the show then. Maybe unless we have to bring in a side co-host or something.
No. There's not going to be any side co-hosts, because I know who'd volunteer for that. Anyway, congratulations to Chris. Drop him a nice
Thank
line.
you very much.
Let him know. This is number 1 for them too, so this is a big deal.
This is number 1 for them too. Okay.
Yeah, this is your first child. That better?
Yeah.
No play on words for you. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how many more are coming along. So
there better not be much more, dude, because you're already going to be, you're not going to have any time now. So
my time is almost up. Yes,
I've
already got plans to be. Thank goodness we have the DS handy. I've already planned on getting the DS in there with the rocking chair. So
that's right.
I've been doing a lot
early.
of Puzzle Quest at 3 a.m. So
absolutely, that's what I do. All right, folks. Well, that'll wrap up this episode of Dual Screen Radio. This is Shane R. Monroe.
And this is Chris Angel.
And remember, listening
is good.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.